What is up, YouTube? This is KingCobraJFS with another video. And I want to give a shout out to Kevin Williams, a friend of mine on Facebook. He turned 22 on April 5th, which was yesterday on Tuesday. So, yeah, happy birthday, man. Or late birthday, I should say. Anyway, a couple things. One, I want to show you how to roll with the cigarette roller. And then we'll get into a couple of other topics. Now, if you want to go the cheaper route, making these kinds of cigarettes are really easy. Now you look at it and you see the little grooves right there. Now what you want to do is when you unhinge it, when you unhinge it, you see a little pocket right there. And you take whatever you're smoking, you know, if you're smoking pot or tobacco or both, whatever, you know, you stick your stuff in your pouch, you close it up, and then you roll it towards you. Alright, so I don't have any pot, but I do have a little bit of tobacco. And I'll show you how easy this is. You want to, open this up. And you want to stick your tobacco into the pouch right there. Whoa, goddamn barking spiders. And when you pack your tobacco or what have you into your roller, you want to make sure you do this over the bag, but you want to make sure that you want to pack that down nice and neat, and you want to evenly distribute it all the way across the roller here, like so. Okay. Now once you've got your tobacco in there, close that sumbitch up. You might have like a little excess on the top there. Just take it and, you know, brush it back into the bag like that. Alright. You want to take it, pinch it, and roll it. See how I take my fingers and I pull my fingers this way, push down and roll. And once you get this thing figured out, it's pretty easy to use. I've seen those cigarette rollers they have where you load it in the thing and then you close it and then you stick the tube on there and you go like that. But before any of those ever came about, you had your old school cigarette rollers right here. And once you got it nice and rolled up, rolling it a couple times with the tobacco in there, that makes a nice little pack for y'all. Okay. And now that you got your smoke in there, I'll keep in mind if you're going to use these to roll marijuana cigarettes, you're going to want to grind your cannabis up before you stick it in there. And when you grind your cannabis up, make sure there's no stems or seeds in there. And it's the same process, stick it in there, roll it up. Now, unfortunately, these papers do not fit. Oh, they do, but when I stick it in there, there's like about that much left, which isn't a big deal. I'll show you what to do if the papers are too small. You can, the simplest way to do it, if they're too small, is just roll it the same way you rolled it before. Okay, just like that. And you look right here and you see that sticky side facing towards me. Easy enough. Lick it very lightly. You don't have to slobber the damn thing. So don't slobber it. Just a nice light lick across. You lick that sticky side very lightly and roll it just like that. And then when you pull this apart like that and you push up, look at there. It made a cigarette. Now there's going to be a little bit of excess right there. Easy enough. Take it, dump all that back into the bag, and then when you're done using your roller, push the pouch back in and close her up just like that. Now with the cigarette here, what I can do then is, you see the excess right there, all you gotta do really is take your tobacco bag and the excess, and yeah, pull that excess out and put it back in the bag just like that. Now, there's a little bit of excess right here on the back too. Here we go. There we go. Unless of course you get zigzag papers that fit it, but when I bought these papers, you know, it was the cheapest papers I could get. Normally though, it's better to actually get zigzag papers if you have a zigzag roller like that one, and they come in the orange container. So yeah, anyways, now that you've rolled your cigarette, it really doesn't matter which end you light it from. Just like that. It does take a little bit of practice, like anything. Once you get the hang of it, these little rollers are quite handy to have. If you have a cigar store or a tobacco shop of any kind, you should be able to get them. Some of the liquor stores here in town carry them. And if you can't get them anywhere where you're living, I know for a fact you can definitely order the rollers and what have you online. Some of the papers I would not mind trying would be Juicy J's. They're quite good. I think I might try the blueberry one and maybe the green apple one, I'm not sure. But yeah, rolling your own cigarettes like that, these are like way cheaper than buying them by the pack. And because you're smoking without a filter, they will spit tobacco in your mouth. Now, if you want a filter in your cigarette, it's pretty easy. When you put your tobacco in there, all you gotta do is make room for the filter and stick it in the pouch there, and then close it up and roll it with the filter in there. And then when you stick your paper in there, you know what I'm saying, presuming the paper is long enough. Now, if I wanted to, I could take two papers and make them the length of the roller and just lick the top and then stick the paper and then roll it like that. But doing it like this is just a lot easier. You know, you don't waste papers doing it like that, at least. Now, first dates are a lot like job interviews. You know, the person you're on a date with, it's a lot like your next potential boss, so to speak. You know, the first date is like a job interview. You know, that's when you're finding out if they're qualified to date you or not. You know what I'm saying? If they're what you're looking for. And job interviews and dates have one thing in common. Okay, or first dates, I should say. Good impressions, you know. So if you know you're gonna have a first date with somebody, try to avoid eating gassy foods, you know. If you're going to have a date with somebody for the first time, try to avoid eating gassy foods. That way you ain't sitting there farting up a storm on your date, because, you know, yeah. So what happens if you got a fart and you're on a first date with somebody? What you can do, if you can, try to, you know, excuse yourself from the table and go into the restroom, do your thing, you know. But sometimes they just, you know how farts are. Sometimes they sneak up on you, and you know. And some girls can get really grossed out by farting. I'm just letting y'all know right now. Some girls are, you know, which I don't care what sex you are, you shouldn't be grossed out by farting. Yeah, it stinks, but you know what? Everybody farts at least once in their life, you know. I mean, you can just imagine it. Some girl going home to complain to her husband about how somebody farted at work and it was so nasty, and then while she's doing it, she farts, and it's loud. Yeah, if I was the husband in that situation, I'd be rolling my ass on the floor laughing. Like, you just got done bitching about somebody else farting, and then right there while you were doing it, you fart. Yeah. I'm sure somewhere it's happened, because life is terribly ironic like that. So what do you do if you're... Now, for some odd reason, some girls tend to think it's more embarrassing if a woman farts than if a guy farts. And it's like, really? You know, I look at it as people are people, man. You know, we do these things because we're people, you know. So what exactly would you do? Now, what would you do if you were on a date with a lovely young lady, and halfway through your date, she farts, and she's like, you know, you take the blame for that shit, man. Especially if you're in a restaurant with a bunch of people in it. And sincerely though, if she farts and she looks like she's beat red from it, and if no one can see her turning red from farting, you know, you take the blame for that shit, sincerely. Like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah. I seem to have made flatulence. And an interesting fact about farting: when you fart, particles of poo enter the air. That's why farts smell the way they do. So, when you fart, and there's been times when people fart and it lands in your mouth, and you're just like, oh god, that's nasty tasting. Well, someone else's poop particles that made their way into the air are now in your mouth. So, yeah. Farting in someone's mouth, you may think it's funny because, you know, but really it's not. And there are certainly worse times to fart than a first date. You know, if you're in an elevator with your coworkers, presuming you have one of those jobs that has a bunch of stairs and what have you, or if you're in an elevator in general, you know, full of people, that's like the worst time to fart, because, you know, if you're in an elevator full of people and you let it go, now you don't want to get blamed for it. So if you fart in an elevator, everybody does it. Everybody looks around like, okay, which one of you smart-nosed motherfuckers did it? He who made the rhyme did the crime. Some people might be like, yeah, well, he who smelt it dealt it. He who denied it supplied it. No, but when it comes to farting, you're allowed to be grossed out by it, but you're not allowed to give somebody else shit for it. And the reason I say this is because people who give somebody else shit for farting, it's like, well, you're kind of being a hypocrite, because if you're human, you have farted at least once in your life. Yeah. Or like, let's say you're at a funeral and ooh, everyone's like, now we need a moment of silence for the recently deceased, and all of a sudden you hear a and it's, oh. Now here's the thing though. The only time farting at a funeral would be acceptable is if the person's funeral that you're at, the person who died, if they found farts humorous in life, you know. I'm serious though, if somebody died and they found farts humorous in life, then that would be the only time it would be acceptable to fart at a funeral. Yeah. Like they say, it was Jim Bob, Joey Jojo. He was 86 when he passed away. Those who remember him say he had a fondness. He thought farts were funny and shit. As an example, I guess. But yeah. And if you think farting during a funeral is bad, farting during sex, unless that's your kink, you know. And as a courtesy, though, if you got a fart, you know, and your girlfriend's down there giving you some amazing head, and you have to fart, like, baby, oh, baby, that feels so good. Oh, baby, wait, stop. I gotta fart. You know, and if you take the time to warn your girl, you know, because she's down there, her head's fucking bobbing, she's sucking your dick, and then also, you know, that would be the worst time to fart ever, you know. If your girlfriend is kind enough to give you some dick sucking goodness, you know what I'm saying, like, and she's down there sucking your dick, and that's right near your asshole, man. Like, don't unless of course, you know, unless of course your girlfriend likes farts, which would be weird, but okay, you know. Unless she says, "Oh baby, fart on my face," while you know what I'm saying. Unless she does that, yeah, you know, if that's your kink, then okay, whatever. But yeah, you know, it can happen. And so, you know what I'm saying, you're sitting there, your bodies are thrusting, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes you get a little bit of air trapped, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And sometimes, like I said, farts just happen out of nowhere, you know. So ladies, what exactly do you do if your man farts during sex? Let me ponder this for a second. Well, if I was pondering that, do they call it a brain fart? No, but what you do, don't even get mad at him for it. Really. All you gotta do just return fire. You know. But don't pretend like it didn't happen. Don't just fart and then pretend like it didn't happen, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if it's loud, there's no denying it, you know. Yeah. And ladies, you can get revenge if your man farts while having sex. Queef on his fucking dick. That's all you gotta do. Yeah. So, like, funerals, first dates, elevators, and sex. Those are like the four worst times to fart. The four absolute worst times to fart. I personally think farts are funny, but that's just me. I mean, if you got a fart, when somebody farts and it's comedically timed perfectly, it produces laughter, and people overthink the stinkiness of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, sometimes when I'm at work, I get gassy. You know, I get the walking farts, and especially if you're at work, you know, if I can't just immediately go to the bathroom, I don't want to fart in front of my coworkers if I can help it. You know what I'm saying? So try to find, like, if I'm in the back of the kitchen and away from all my coworkers, and I got a fart, and my coworkers are nowhere near it, you know what I'm saying? Let loose, man, you know. Especially if I'm out in the dining room cleaning the tables, you know, I don't want to fart then either, especially, you know, customers aren't going to want to smell ripe ass, you know what I'm saying? It'd probably make them lose their appetite, really. Regardless of, everybody's farted at least once in their life. Don't be okay. Regardless of what I've always said, everybody farts. Don't be a stinking hypocrite about it and judge somebody else for doing it. Yeah. But rather than getting upset by the farts, you know, try to laugh it off a little bit, you know, because there are way worse things to get upset by. Yeah. You can even make yourself fart. Now, when you swallow your air to make yourself burp, hold that air in and try to push it through your intestines. And don't do this too much because you might make yourself puke. See what I'm saying? Like, you can swallow your air to burp. It's real easy. You know what I'm saying? But freaking, yeah. Now that your cigarette's done, what you can do with it is squeeze all the tobacco out of it. Till there's nothing left but paper. And take that tobacco, stick it back in your bag just like that. Well, anyway, this is KingCobraJFS with another video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all later.